Hello and welcome. Today we will be reviewing topics that we have recently learned in biochem. There are many factors that can influence enzyme activity. Today we will discuss all of these factors, but first let's review enzymes. An enzyme is a substance produced in living things that is used to catalyze a specific chemical reaction. Enzymes are essential to the life of any organism, and their environment always influences their functionality. These factors include pH, temperature, and pressure.
For a deeper understanding of enzymes and factors that influence their activity, let's look at the day in the life of an enzyme. This is average Joe, the enzyme. Joe is a lactase enzyme that is specifically responsible for breaking down lactose. We learned about enzymes like Joe in our experiments involving milk and lactose. Unfortunately, Joe often has trouble turning substrates into products. That's a huge job for one little enzyme. Luckily for Joe, there are factors that can enhance the effectiveness of enzymes. Joe has noticed that he functions most effective with a neutral pH. A neutral pH is about 7, and this means that the substance is neither too acidic or too alkaline. Milk contains lactose, which is the substance that Joe is designed to break down. Milk has a very neutral pH, making Joe's job simple. Joe also notices that his job is better in warmer environments. When the temperature is higher, Joe's chance of colliding with other molecules increases, increasing the speed of his chemical reactions. Finally, pressure influences enzyme activity. However, Joe is not a gas molecule. He will not be affected by gas pressure. There are other factors that influence his activity. Surface area is a factor that can influence Joe's activity. The more space a molecule has to cover, the more potential chemical reactions there are. These are all factors that make Joe the enzyme's job a little easier.
I'm going to be talking about pH and how it affects enzyme activity. pH is a measure of acidity or basicity of a liquid solution. The optimum pH for a reaction involving enzyme is something that needs to stay consistent. When the pH gets too high or too low, it can stop enzyme activity completely. The optimum pH for a specific reaction can vary, but once that pH is determined, you shouldn't change it much. Your enzyme then needs a neutral environment and a pH level of 7 is lipids.
Pressure can change the catalyst reactions in enzymes. Some enzymes mixtures can go through losing volume because of changes in their hydration levels. The results in an increase of the enzyme pressure. Pressure only affects gas molecules. This is called kinetic theory. This theory explains the properties of gas like pressure, and it basically says that the force of the molecule or the enzyme bouncing off of the container impacts the pressure or the rate of how the molecules get around.
Another factor that affects enzyme activity is temperature. Again, there is no one temperature that is optimum for all enzyme reactions, but once that temperature is drastically changed, that's when there's a problem. Unlike pH, it is good to increase the temperature during a reaction. It increases the reaction rate. But once the reaction rate hits a certain temperature, everything just stops. If you look at the graph on the screen, you'll see that.
This has been our group's presentation of the factors that influence enzyme activity. To review, the particles move together and collide more quickly by interacting with their surroundings. Enzymes typically react more quickly in an environment that has a neutral pH, a higher temperature, and a higher pressure for gas molecules. We have discussed the 3 factors that influence enzyme activity. Again, these are pH, temperature, and pressure. Thank you for watching our video.